You are tuned into the Shattered Podcast, Cellbound Edition, with your host, D. Elias.
On today's edition of Cellbound, I have Leah Osburn with me. Thank you very much, Leah.
Thank you.
For giving your testimony. You had a pretty easy childhood.
A wonderful childhood.
You were adopted.
Yes.
And right before your teenage years, kind of tell us what was going on then.
Well, whenever I was becoming a teenager and everything, my mom would give me the RSAT for period cramps and things like that. And she didn't think anything of it. She wasn't trying to turn me into an addict or anything. But
yeah, it wasn't intentional.
Right, it wasn't intentional at all. And like I say, I had a great life, and there was no intention there of getting me into drugs. There was a counterculture kind of going on. The 80s and 90s were kind of happening, throughout my life. So the drug culture was big back then.
Your mom was prescribed a lot of opioids due to pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was addicted, and really it wasn't thought of if your doctor prescribed it, then it was okay, and you're not a drug addict. So she just didn't feel like there was a problem.
No, the research was not done at that time, not like it is today. And there weren't the laws to protect people that there are today.
Right. And since the doctor prescribed it, she thought it was okay to give some to you when you were complaining about pain.
Right. My mother was severely diabetic, and her mind kind of worked medically and things like that. And she just really intended the best for me.
Which kind of led you became addicted.
Yes, and I took it and ran with it, but I'm an addict by nature, and so whereas it might not pick up in her system, like if she took a pill like that, it might not become as fast and as fierce of an addiction as it did with me.
Right.
It did with me manifest like that, and I was kind of looking for somebody to belong to, or because of being adopted and things, I think factored into that. So
it did kind of bother you, I'm sure, every now and then, watch your real family,
it still does.
Yeah.
I recently had like a genetic test before I came in here and found out like my culture and all that. So, but that was nice to have some of those answers. But, my parents have always been my parents.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But there's always that little just thought in your head of what would they, where are they at, who are they?
Right. So.
How did your drug use escalate? What made it escalate?
It was really just the media, honestly. It was the MTV culture and different things, and it was glorifying.
All over TV.
Right. The Oliver Stone movies, and this is the 90s.
You wanted to be cool.
Right. I just wanted to, and it was big on it's getting in touch with God, and, all of those things that were portrayed in the media, those natural born killers and the mushrooms and all this. It was just a hippie thing for me. It was a peaceful counterculture for me is what I was into. And it progressed as like people who are addicts, it has different levels and progresses through the years.
Right.
So. And I guess the people around me got involved in more serious things, and I just kind of followed in suit.
What was your drug of choice?
Pain pills has always been my favorite.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been basically taking them since you were 12 years old?
Basically, yes.
And you went to prison. Was that drug related?
Everything that I've ever been in trouble for is drug related. I don't have any violent offenses, and I have a lot of self-control compared to what I did to begin with, but I've always taken a lot with me from institutions and different things, whatever I get, as much as I can out of everything.
Right.
Because every time is an opportunity to start over or to grow.
Right. How long were you in prison?
About 6 months. It was enough for me to learn from. I don't want to go back there. It helped me to stay clean it's a place that you can go and truly, you get what you want to get out of it,
right,
I guess.
Exactly.
It's a sense of finality there, because there are people there that never go home. And they're very young, and it's a definite thing.
Right.
It's
and
sad things that you see in there.
Exactly.
Lots of sad stories, but
You know you're going to get to go home, but you see people that's their home.
and they're young, like 19-year-old kids, they make one wrong decision, one anger management problem. That's why I think it's so great that they're offering anger management in here, because that is a big thing. One wrong move and you can be in the penitentiary the rest of your life.
Exactly.
And it can be drug related. It doesn't matter if you hurt somebody or kill somebody.
You can't take that back.
Yeah, you can never take that back, and that's really serious business. And so I'm really glad to be in here and having this opportunity rather than something like that. We had a speaker this morning that came and talked about her experience as a radio producer, and she had some issues. She had the same issue I had with the pain pills and things, and had a wreck and killed somebody. And she was in there 15 years, and she was a grandma when she went, but she just thought that she could get high and drive.
Right.
And so I'm really grateful to be here.
So you actually got accepted into RSAT today.
Yes, ma'am.
But you've been taking programs and service. How long have you been in jail?
I've only
This
time just for 2 weeks.
Okay. So from day one, when you were arrested and came here, you started utilizing the programs and services.
Yes, ma'am.
Which ones has helped you the most?
Like I say, anger management is a big deal, and we have the ability to talk with the therapist. There's just a kind of a roundtable session where we can talk with the therapist, and that's really helpful. We can just kind of bring up whatever's going on, get some techniques for like those of us that have stress issues, because some of us have dual disorders like mental health issues and drug disorders combined, which makes it more complicated.
Exactly.
And so we can learn grounding techniques, different things to help us not when we're having a panic attack or something like that, rather than go to using drugs or whatever. And also being able to use these services, they've always taken really good care of me, and I see them take good care of everyone, but better care of me than I've taken care of myself a lot of times. But we can get back on our mental health medicine and things like that and get leveled out. And the structure and everything, it's really good. So.
Right. You said that you got out of prison, you stayed clean for a while. What kind of spiraled, what happened in your life that it started spiraling out of control again?
Well, I did really, really good, and I'm proud of my clean time. I had a really good sponsor. I worked, I was working the steps, and when I stopped, it was just laziness on my behalf. I stopped calling my sponsor, I stopped going to meetings, and doing the tools. I mean, there's just these few basic things, and it's a maintenance thing. Like diabetes or cancer is a disease, so is addiction. And if you do these certain things, these preventative measures, like eating right for a diabetic or whatever, or taking treatments for cancer patients, so it's the same thing for an addict. If you do these preventative measures, then it makes your chances of success for a prolonged period of time that much better. And that's taking care of your mental health, your physical health, and all that stuff, and utilizing your program and things like that. So that's where I went wrong, was not utilizing my tools.
And then your mom passed away. And
my mom did pass away this year. And it was a long, hard battle for her. She had diabetes and a lot of health problems. And so that we have all done really well with that in my family and kind of fallen in our appropriate roles. I think the anticipation was maybe worse than the event, but we know that she's in a better place. And it was really stressful, and it was, scary. And rather than call people, I looked at it kind of like I was a sign of weakness or something, to be afraid, and I didn't reach out and use the tools available to me and the people.
Right.
So
you're here, I see you start in 10 days, and then you're here for 90. Where do you see yourself? What do you want to do when you go in Aftercare?
Oh man, I'm gonna go full force. I don't halfway do anything I don't think. So I want to put as much effort into fixing things as I did into messing my life up. And I did a pretty good job. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity beyond measure. I have a grandchild on the way. I'm excited about that. And
me too.
That's good. So I'm looking forward to just being a regular person most of all, and helping people when and how I can, but mostly just being the change that I want to see, and just trying to just level out and just be as normal as possible and just use what I know. I know what to do. I just chose not to.
Right.
And this is a great break for me, and so I'm coming out really optimistic. I mean, I've been optimistic since I got here, because it's a miserable life. Drugs are not the way to go. And I have some transferable skills. I got some things that I can do with my life, and I plan to, work on that, figuring out what my strengths are, and building on that as time goes on.
That's what I like about these programs and services and the volunteers coming in. They help you they visit with you and find out what's your skills, what you're good at, what you want to do, and they kind of help you build a career. A lot of people coming in, they don't have a high school diploma, so they help work with them and get a GED, or they've had some college or whatever. So this gives you a chance to decide what you want to do in your life as far as a career or whatever, and then they help you get that when you walk out the door. They help you build a resume, and there's just so many things that they do.
That'd be good.
So you've got 90 days to work with them and build yourself a resume, and
that's exciting. I'm glad.
It is. It is. And then when you leave the 9 months, you have a very supportive community that stands behind you.
That's right. That's another tool that I have not used to my advantage, because there's a lot of embarrassment associated with addiction, and reaching out and asking for help is very difficult for me. So that's something that I'll be working on. And I really appreciate everybody in this place and in the community for giving me a chance to show what I can do.
Because they care, and they just want you to succeed when you walk out the door.
That's right. Right.
Well, Leah, I wish you all the best in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.